Hey everyone, it's Josh. I just want to take a quick second to say if you're enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, rate, or comment. All of those things help out tremendously. It helps me get better sponsorships, helps me get better guests. I'm able to take this on the road, more consistent video, so many different things. It's all free. So please take a second to help support me by liking, subscribing, commenting, or rating. Also, if you want, there's a donation button. I don't expect anything, but even like 99 cents, there's a couple different options a month. Helps so much. Thank you, and enjoy the episode.
And welcome back to the podcast, episode 2. Today we continue the conversation with the Great Heights Band. Eric kind of takes the lead and talks about being a full-time producer. He most recently worked on the latest Underoath album. The album went to number 4 on the Billboard charts and also had a song nominated for a Grammy. And he also works as a professor at UMBC, which I think is hilarious because if you know Eric, seeing him as a professor is just, I don't know. I mean, I can definitely picture it. He's a smart guy and he's great. I'm sure he's a great teacher, but I just think it's really funny that he's a professor just because I went there. And actually, we used to sneak up there to the studio when I went there around like 2 a.m. and we would just have awesome jam sessions and stuff and record it and make little mixtapes and stuff. So fun times, good times. So enjoy the episode and I'll see you after.
Yeah, and Neil mentioned that you have so many different things going on. I've seen like 3 of your bands, I feel like, live. And I love the 90s cover band. I think that was with Kathy.
Yeah, Party Like It's.
Yeah, no, that's a fun band. All of them are fun. I have such a good time. But you also produce and do other stuff.
Me too.
And we talked about it earlier, but something I thought was cool in general is that you were an engineer on the latest Underoath album.
Yeah.
You helped out with that. And that, I feel like it went to like number 4 or something like that on the Billboard.
It was number 4 on Billboard, and then one of the songs got nominated for a Grammy, which is
It was a great
insane.
album.
Thank you.
I loved it. Yeah, I mean,
it
it was amazing. Yeah.
It was met with mixed reviews from from the diehards, and I think it's awesome. I mean, but see, going into it, and full disclosure, I'm like, I wasn't I wasn't super into Underoath growing up, and so I have tons of friends that grew up in high school listening to Underoath, and they were such an important band for them. So then when Erase Me came out, it's definitely got, more of a commercial sound, a little more refined. So the guys, they broke up, quote unquote, and quit playing shows for 8 years or however long, and then came back. But in that time, Spencer did his own project, Aaron did the Almost, and then did solo records and stuff, and everyone had their own projects and got really perfected their own shit so well, and then came back, and so the record that we landed on is that's the result of like all these guys finally being happy doing what they're doing, and
That's cool.
It's so cool because like some of their fans may not realize this, but all the other records like Define the Great Line and They're Only Chasing Safety, like those are all records that were born out of butting heads and people fighting and people hating, like just getting pissed off that this shit wasn't happening, and so Erase Me is the result of everyone actually like compromising and meeting in the middle and chasing ideas that maybe they're not necessarily on board with at first, but then it ends up somewhere where everyone's really stoked on it. And I think that's such a cool, I think that's how every band should create. Obviously Great Heights Band is so blessed because I run the studio and have the resources to like, okay, we can chase this rabbit hole and we're not paying someone hourly and we're not wasting money.
That's gotta be so great.
It is.
It's like not paying rent.
It is, and then
almost.
It stresses me out.
I'm sure.
We always have the I'm always the one who's like, yo, like,
it's hard to separate yourself as the engineer and being in the band as well.
Totally.
In the sense of you want it to be great because it's your name on it.
Sure.
You're also in the band. You don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm less concerned with like, upsetting people.
I'm sure.
I'm not afraid to put on the producer hat and be like, this is what's best for the shit, and like, not to. I think we've all come to the point where like none of us really have egos in the band, though.
Right.
It's all, everyone has gotten to a point where, and it's when like a band is like put on their big boy pants, is like when they can separate themselves as a musician from what's going to best serve the song. It's like, it's not going to be like, well, I have this really cool drum part that's like super complicated and I've been practicing it for years and like it needs to go in the song because it's technical and cool. It's like, okay, but that's distracting and doesn't serve the song at all. So like now we've hit this point where everyone in our band is thinking as a songwriter and not just as what they are as an individual musician.
I think that's the hardest part about being in a band is getting to that point.
Oh
and
my
that's
God.
why once you get to that point, I feel like you can then just, I mean, you're still going to have certain things that come up, but I feel like you can then just go and try to concentrate on the music as much as possible. But I feel like a lot of bands almost shoot themselves in the foot because it's always it might not even be the manager or their music or the record label. It might be like the fact they can't get along. I've seen that so many times.
Totally, yeah.
That sounds dumb, but like, and I don't mean to gloss over, but like, you can't really have feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so we've taken feelings out of it and the egos out of it, and you know, it took a while, really, but like now we just don't get defensive about things anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? We used to be like, I'd play something and someone would say, it's a little much.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "What? Why do you think it's much? I think it's perfect." You know, like, you know, and you think your ideas are the best thing, and if anyone has anything to say against that, then you take it as they're attacking you.
Yeah,
and,
you take it personally. Which
and
is,
now it doesn't even matter. You know, like, we would, you know, one of the weird things that like I'm like very particular about like a snare sound. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Eric and I
feel like
nerd
most
out about
drummers
this
are
stuff.
too. That's like their baby,
But I
the
was,
snare.
you know, the idea of I can't remember what song it was, but we wanted to. I was like, the drum roll can't use the snare drum I've been using in the whole song. Like,
oh, it's on "Wished I Was Dead."
yeah, I was like, we need to switch the snare.
There's
And-
a song, yes. There's
Yeah.
a song on Rad Pop called "Wished I Was Dead," and the snare sound for the majority of it is this really like high tuned. It's got a little bit of a ring, but it's cracky.
Right.
And then there's a section in the middle where Paul does this like gallopy roll thing, and it's a different snare drum, and it's tuned lower, and it's a little more dead, and it's a little more, I don't know, but yeah, it's a totally different sound.
Yeah, but at first Eric was like, "We don't need to do that." I was like, it needs to be that way, and from that point we just nerd out about things. Where anytime we don't agree on something, we never take defense, and it's worked worlds for our songwriting, I think, because
Yeah, and I think we're really good about chasing stuff too. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, no one's right or wrong out the gate. Like, we need to figure out if it's a shitty idea. Like, let's at least hear it, right? Unless it's like we can say without a shadow of a doubt that like, okay, no, that's derailing the whole production. But like, no, I think we've gotten really good about, and obviously we have the massive advantage of having the studio at our disposal and all that shit. So it's definitely, but I encourage, I mean, shit, it's 2020. If you're a band and you don't have any means to record yourself on your own, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get Logic and fucking like, just get Logic and get some plugins and then fucking plug your guitar into an interface and make a record or make demos at least. Like, it's not that hard.
So I can hook up my whole drum set. I got my interface, so I can, and the guitar and Logic was, came free with my Mac basically.
Yeah.
I can record everything. I can do nice sounding demos. Now I'm not gonna release the stuff, but
exactly. But
you can give a producer almost pinpoint of what you want.
I
it to
can't
sound
tell you
like.
how many times I've been in the studio with a band and someone's like, we'll be tracking a guitar part and someone else in the band is like, that's the part you've been playing this whole time? Like, I had no idea.
Right.
And that's terrifying to me because, we at any given point, I can tell you what the bass is doing, what Neil is doing on guitar, what I'm doing on guitar, what Paul's doing on drums, and like in any song, even songs we haven't recorded yet, like I know who's doing what. And maybe that's just producer brain, but I feel like everyone else pretty much has a similar grasp on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's scary to not know. Like,
I feel like there's no excuse to have bad demos these days.
Exactly.
It's not going to be, studio quality, but there's no excuse not to either have a good demo.
Yeah, just as a writing tool, it's huge.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, even I have the ability to record, and I'm not a touring musician or anything. I'm not in a band.
Right.
But I still like to play. I still like to keep up. But yeah, all that stuff costs me under like $500.
You can put together a pretty respectable demoing rig on a computer for like $200.
Yeah. Like, there's no excuse, especially, and also, I see a lot of bands that don't use the click track when they're trying on their demos or other stuff, and it's just all out of sorts.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, how are you going to send that to a producer and expect him to actually do that. Like you almost might as well just not reach out, because if you do that, I almost feel like the producer could say no off the bat.
I don't know. I'm
it doesn't have to
old,
be
but that's
perfect, but like if you're not using a click track to where they can at least send you notes and do some stuff.
We had to,
like,
I know. Well, so if someone's sending me a demo, I prefer that it be to a click, so that I can, if I hear production shit, I can like chop it up, add stuff in,
exactly,
and do stuff. But I mean, it was a transition to get. So we run our whole live set to a click, and the whole thing's we have tracks and extra supplemental stuff, like we said, building up the production of the live show, and it it took us a sec to get there.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Paul was always the big catalyst of like, no, like we got to play it live and it's got to have the feel, and it's like he's like, I can't play with a click live because it throws off my groove, and I'm sorry,
I can see that for
that sounds like bullshit. If you can't groove with a click, then you just need to practice.
Yeah.
Nah, well, I grew up not doing it.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like I came from the days like if you can't demo, we didn't track anything when we demoed. We put a mic in the middle of the room, and hit play on a 4-track recorder and record it on a cassette.
I was gonna say I did tape. Yeah.
That's the way I used to demo. So I'm like, it's a demo. We just all play it together or whatever. Like what we do now is far beyond anything I thought I'd ever do for a demo. But I was never comfortable playing with the click track because no one taught me to play drums. Like I just, you know, we had enough money to buy a drum set. Like I put up half the money, my pops put up the other half, and I got a drum set. But there was no lessons. I didn't realize that there even was a metronome. So when people were like, play to a metronome, I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. But, nothing great ever happens from someone staying in their comfort zone.
Right. And you learned, and now you're much better off because of it.
We wanted to do more. This band pushed me to do it, and they're like, just do it. And I was like, no, thinking of excuses because I just didn't want to try something new. And then now I love it. You know what I mean? It feels better. Like, it's smoother.
I mean, drummers should be able to do both.
Yes.
You should be able to maintain, not rush, and just stay in a groove without a metronome. But then also at the same time, if you have a click, you should be able to groove with that too. Mm-hmm. Like you can bury the click. You don't have to fucking like act like a robot. You can play ahead of it. And if you're practiced enough, you can choose to do that and willingly do it. And that's it just comes down to how often you play and how hard you practice. But
no, especially for drums too, because I'm all ear. I taught myself drums. I love it. And there was a point when I was younger, I was really, really good at drums. Now I can't do half the rolls. And same with guitar. I used to be able to shred, but now it's like not so much. When I was younger, my dad paid for guitar lessons. I started off piano. My parents were like, he's Asian, we'll make him play piano. And my sister played violin. We're both adopted, if you couldn't tell. And so they forced me to play piano. I remember hating it, but I had ADHD. They didn't really know what that was back then in like the 80s, 90s. It was probably less of a known thing. So my mom would force me. I remember I would just hate it because I get so sidetracked. I would not want to practice scales or anything. But I also know if I didn't learn piano, I wouldn't have been as good at guitar, because you basically turn a keyboard up, right side up, whole notes, half notes, same chords and scales. Yeah. So I just almost visualize a piano on my guitar sometimes, and that kind of helps me out. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but the same concepts and stuff.
Transposing on guitar is way easier.
Oh yeah. I can't keep, I can do this, but sometimes getting these in sync, same thing with the drums. I'm pretty good. Like when I was at my prime, I could play almost anything. Yeah. It's just a matter of, I think drums are the one instrument, and vocals where it's your body is half of the thing, not totally. Just to get, and same with guitar, you still have to have, good,
no, but
strong hands,
drums and vocals are way more,
especially trying to keep time and stuff like that. You can get away with guitar, but like drums, you got to be on point. And I'm just, I'm all ear. But my point of this was that I kind of regret that when the guitar teacher would come over, instead of practicing my scales and chords and stuff like that,
you just learn songs.
I would make him teach me songs, and that was it.
I was the same way, but I'll tell you what,
he's probably like, thanks for the $500, like I'll teach you Green Day songs all day.
I took lessons for years, and I wasn't doing any like scales or rudiments or anything like that, but I learned songs, and it made my ear so good.
Right.
Like I can listen to things and pick stuff out and just like, okay, cool.
I wish I was a sound engineer. I wish I had gone to school and had more of a grasp. And I know I could do it now in the sense
of school for it, man.
I know, but as far as going to a band, having the experience, at least having the experience of doing multiple live shows, I could never hop on with a band that I would want to.
Yeah.
But because of that, I've always I feel like as a manager too, I always have a good ear. I might not be the best musician, but I always have a good ear for that stuff. But yeah, I wish I had gone to sound engineer because then I could tour manage and sound engineer.
Yeah.
Much easier than trying to work my way up or just doing tour managing by itself. You almost have to have some sort of a tech or sound engineering background.
I mean, that goes back to what
bands.
I'm saying is I think that everyone should, if you're a musician, you should have some basic like means of recording yourself.
Right.
Whether one of the courses I taught at UMBC this past semester was tech lab portion of a musicianship class, and it was teaching every freshman music major how to use Pro Tools and like very basic, like here's how you plug in a microphone, here's what phantom power is, here's where you place the mic, and it's just like really basic record yourself kind of shit, and it's so helpful. Any musician should be able to at least like do a rough recording of themselves. And
even these days too, because that's one less sound guy you have to use on the road. I mean, even though like you could almost set it up, you're gonna have the house guy, but you could almost set it up on your iPad and everywhere else with your monitors and phones these days, where you can have it almost set yourself.
Oh, we've totally eliminated monitor engineers.
Oh yeah,
we're all self-contained as far as that goes, and it's changed our lives.
And especially if you're a touring band and like shit happens all the time. We were on the way to a festival and we were parked in the gas station, got hit by a motorcycle. Like he was about to pull it into drive, and as he did it, it jerked forward. So I thought it was the transmission, and then I see the guy laying out how he gets out and goes out, and I follow right behind him, and I go out. The guy, his leg was like a Z. It was disgusting. Like I've never seen anything like that in person. It was like the movies, and I went straight back, and I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna sit here and let it happen. But we still had to get there on time, and that took like 3 hours, and we were already on a time crunch. We got there. I think our TM and our sound guy got everything. I helped load up, but they did all the patching and all that stuff. And they had it up in like 20 minutes or something like that. The set was cut short, but they still, got most of their set in. And, that's why being self-contained, the more you can do that and rely less on other people, the better. Yeah. I mean, you're just saving time, money, all that stuff. Cry now as opposed to cry later. I know that's kind of cliche, but it is true. I hear it a lot. I've heard it from a bunch of other people.
Yeah,
but
I mean, putting our rig together, it's an expense, and it's like we've got our own digital console and a split and all that shit, and it was expensive on the upfront to like get it there. But man,
but you're investing in yourself. I mean, it all comes back.
And I can we can go to any gig with complete confidence that we'll know what we're gonna sound like, and it'll be fine. Like it changes the game completely.
For sure. So I think a big thing with business is that for a long time, and even still today, even with Trump and other people, there's a lot of bad businessmen because you can cook the books, you can do other things. I got into business because I wanted to be the opposite. I wanted to be known as, a manager that cared about the band, that it was not about the money. The band went for, that's, when I talk to bands, say, how are you going to separate yourselves from all the other bands? Well, how am I going to separate myself as a manager? Well, I'm going to separate it by being, it's like the Ravens. While everyone else is throwing the ball, they're running the ball. So while everyone else is all about the money and just the flashy lights and the industry, I want to be about sustainable and realistic income if you want to do this for a living. Again, I'm never going to sit there and puff bands up and tell them they're going to, tour the world and be millionaires. But I can promise if you put in the work, and that's the key word, if you put in the work, I can get you to the point where you can pay your bills, you can be on tour, you can have savings for the band and have savings for your family, so that when you're on the road, you're not, I got to pay my rent. Like, when's the next paycheck or when's the next gig? It's like, all right, I already have that plotted out. And again, you already have you might $5,000 that you need to start. You can still do this for so everything else that we're making. And then again, it's just your own expectations, like we're going towards other things, or whatever the case may be. Because if a band's happy playing locally, So
or
again,
they only
I
want to
don't
do
make
regional
promises,
tours
but
and
I
then
definitely
try and
just put out as much music.
If you put in the time
I'll
and you're
still
smart about
represent
it,
you as long as
you can
paying
make
me
a
for the
living.
stuff
You get-
I'm doing.
I get about 15 to 20
and
emails a day about,
give me like
hey,
a
check out my
10%
band
booking
or,
fee if I book
whatever.
you shows locally.
And sometimes it'll just
but you're
be
probably
like,
gonna make more money
they'll send
in
me a
being a
million
local cover
links
band getting
where
paid
they'll send me like
$1,000 for 3 hours as
yeah,
opposed
totally.
to doing 1 hour
again a demo
whatever,
recorded
unless you're
on
on
a
a cell
certain
phone
level.
that they stuck
Right.
in the middle
But,
and you can't hear anything. You
I don't
have
know.
no
Again,
clue what
it
it's
always
about.
comes down to the person.
But you
that's why I was
expect
so
me to
interested in
sign
working with you guys
based
when I
on
first
that.
started as
Right.
management.
It's like,
But
is
then
that
the
really
first bands
putting your
actually
best
reached
foot
out
forward?
to,
Like,
and came out
what
and
do you-
saw
I mean,
because
even
Again, not
obviously,
knowing
you
can just tell.
You've
You
worked
know,
with enough
the music
bands.
was
It's
great.
really
You guys-
telling of a
I saw
band
the
though. If they're
videos,
like,
and I'm like,
okay,
these
we're gonna
guys
send
at least have a
a
consistent
potential
team. I can
manager
tell
an
what they're
email
about.
to represent
Sure.
us.
You know,
blah,
a
blah,
lot of
blah.
people we don't
And-
want to pay.
We were talking about
and this
demos
is
and
the
stuff,
best
and
thing that we
and
can
I forgot to say this, but
we can have to represent ourselves is this shitty phone recording.
just not ready. Sometimes, again, it's about being self-aware,
Yeah.
not being ready or right. You don't want to shoot all your bullets. I mean, you're just because then you're never going to get the second shot.
Right.
But at least always be putting your best foot forward, so that even if it doesn't work out, there's nothing that you can look back on and be like, man, if we just did this, if we had just paid the extra $1,000 to get it mixed,
Right.
well, even if it was by a buddy, you
Right.
know, and I see, and again, that's bands not taking it the steps they need. It's not that it wouldn't have worked
Yeah.
out. It's just that you just didn't
Cutting
take it that
corners.
next.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I that is one of my like ride your own coattails. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but I mean it. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing for yourself? Like bands always ask me, well, can we open for this band or this band? And yeah, maybe I could, but why? Why would I put my name out there
Right.
if you're not ready for that? And why do you want to ride there? Because it might sound nice leading up to the show that you're opening for this band, but as soon as that show's over, what has that done for you? You're
Right,
still
right.
back to square one. During all that time that you're putting all this energy into opening for this band, that's only gonna, maybe give you any spotlight leading up to it in the day of. You could have been doing other things to invest in yourself and be better and
Totally.
coming
yeah.
up.
So I run a studio called Buzzlounge in Baltimore. It's just north of the city. It's on like the Baltimore-Pikesville line, but it is technically Baltimore.
I'd love to come down and check it out sometime whenever you guys are working. I'll stay out of your way.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe
No,
take some
man.
video for you guys. You can
That'd be
do
great.
some on my gimbal.
That'd be great.
That stuff looks so good.
Yeah.
Even just with my phone.
Yeah.
on the
I know.
gimbal
We
makes
both have
it
the
like
phone
movie.
gimbals
Yeah,
too. They're sick.
they're
It's
great.
awesome. But yeah, man. So I do that. I've been recording bands for 10 years now.
Besides Underoath, what a lot of mostly local,
Mostly
or have you
local,
done other national acts as
Mostly
well?
local. Let's see. In 2018, I engineered a record called "Misery" for the Amity Affliction.
That's cool.
They're from Australia, and that was a cool record. I did some drum engineering for Plain White Tees 1 or 2 years ago, and but yeah, mostly local at this point. I'm just
Didn't you do something for like Depeche Mode or something like that? Or
I did an internship in
that's cool.
in 2012 or 2011, and I interned on a Depeche Mode record. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. But for the most part, it's all been local, and it's I've kind of taken the I take a lot of pride in kind of your approach and Neil's approach of like developing artists and sharing kind of my experiences and helping to shape these artists. So when Neil was talking about One Life to Lead, their record was a big developmental project for them, I think, too. Kind of having someone take the reins and show them this direction and help them. And I did a lot of songwriting with them. I think I wrote 5 of the 6 songs with them.
That's cool that you're hands on like that, because some will just take the money, do the production work, and not
Yeah,
even
well,
really,
yeah,
and
I
move
mean,
on to the next.
And that's not stimulating for me
No.
as an engineer.
Then why
as a
even do
producer,
it?
It's not fun. Like if I can put my hands on it and turn it into something that I will be passionate about just as much as the band and leave that imprint on it. Like I don't do it just to say I did it. Like that's
Right.
There are some producers that will like put their spin on it just to say that they had a heavier hand on it, and it'll make the song worse. And I'm not that kind of producer. I love to kind of show bands and lead them to, like you said, lead a horse to water and get them to find the results.
Got to get them
that
to
they want.
drink it though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the tricky part. But yeah, no, I'm Currently, I just wrapped up a record with a ska band from DC called the Skluts.
That's an awesome name.
Yeah, I'm working on the Great Heights Band record. I'm working on my other band, the Can't Evens, is currently working on a record as well.
Is it gonna be covers, or are you gonna do solo stuff or original? Sorry,
Here's the thing. So Party Like It's is all covers, and we started writing music, and we were like, this is confusing, because we got offered a bill with this band called the Expendables, and the promoter
no, I know those guys.
Jeff
and all them.
the promoter was like, aren't they a cover band? Like, we can't have them on the bill. We don't want a cover band. And it's like, no, you don't get it. We do original music too. And we're like, fuck, this is gonna be a problem. So we started. It's the same 6 people,
but you split it up.
There's a different band called the Can't Evens, and so that's our project for original music.
Cool.
So we're doing a record too. I have a band coming in at the end of the month called Too Soon Jokes from Baltimore. It's just, doing stuff all the time.
Keeping busy.
Just keeping busy.
Hell yeah, man. The one thing about having degrees is that I definitely go down the rabbit hole of YouTube and Netflix documentaries. Work my way up and make 6 figures. I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, but there's definitely stuff pursuing stream, but is beyond. Very lucky that my parents have always supported music and supported me doing this.
But that's so crucial.
My dad used to be against it. He's so close. My dad's 72 years old. All he needs is a mic. But now that I think about it, he'll go play any gigs. Just seeing how crazy retired people are these days. Go to like retirement homes. I don't play for free necessarily. No, it is the best. So I've actually gone to a couple of his gigs. The enjoyment they get out of the world. I tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, I know you don't want to get. If we're all gonna die or get probed, passion for you, but yeah, at least tell him to give you gas money.
Oh, real quick, you've got a dialogue.
Because you're driving like an hour sometimes to get to like Frederick and stuff like that to play these gigs, and you're not getting paid.
Move your web browser.
He just refuses to take money, which is I see.
He's a good dude. Like a little dialogue.
He's the man for sure.
The audio it's nice to do the things that you love.
I keep looking over just to make sure we're still recording because I was like,
well, that's what I thought it was. I was I heard like a little click, and then I saw this dialogue pop up. I was like, oh, I wonder if he got a recording error.
I think it thinks I have the interface still plugged in.
I don't know if you ever saw that article where like
I'm not
this guy, I think,
gotcha.
Neil, how you doing?
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, he had like really bad Alzheimer's, like was mute.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Doesn't like.
Are you guys on
not aware, doesn't speak, and then like they they played a song from his childhood.
Anything else you wanted to add or get out there?
Started singing along
the
and like
podcast.
Like, that
no, I mean I
do
appreciate
remember
it's
taking the time to have us on your show.
Yeah.
Supporting our band.
The question is always
cool.
like, can you imagine
and all the rad pop artists and all that good stuff?
Music,
you're doing something
or you didn't listen. And I have met people that
that's funny. I just
don't listen to music or don't like music.
My mind.
So it's like I'm like, you don't like that response
anything, like in some
capacity. I was like, anything,
I
was like instrumental show, nothing. Like, what do you do? But I did feel bad. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything else.
Because it consumes like 95% of my thought patterns.
Would love to be back. Maybe we could do
even when I don't want to. Yes.
Oh, maybe you should come here. Pops in there.
I mean, you guys, honestly, all of you, even Owen, are welcome in studio anytime. Like, if you have a day off, like the psychology of like how let's go do a podcast episode. Just come on and be my guest. There has to be music.
It's cool here. You guys would like it.
Yeah, and then just bring like I love talking about things other than music too with musicians.
How many times,
whether I love talking about just random stuff that you
come into contact with art in general.
Happy to do this political thing.
You can't.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would love to.
Actually,
you would be
a logo someone designed. Okay, you're enjoying. You go into a coffee shop. Okay, well, someone had to someone designed the interior of that coffee shop. Someone designed the logo.
You guys want to do an acoustic session here too, and video it? The next time I have you in, I would love to have video.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It's crazy.
Because then I can just get this direct into the video and edit it
appreciation for art as a whole,
and then just use the audio
for the podcast, and it's necessary. Whether you like to think of it as necessary or not. It is.
Go ahead, sorry.
After
the sitting back there with Linwood.
That's how. I mean,
I'm sure he was cool with it.
We've done podcasts before, and it's like we always get real stoked. Yes. Like, Owen said something this time.
Classic. That's why I wanted to have him in studio so we could get. Because
just
watching you guys him watch the video of him would have been great.
Some mics or
it's hard to be
engaging because we can get it into here.
Aren't looking at people.
Right. Exactly. That's a huge thing.
Normally Neil does a lot of the talking.
It's 2020. If you can't record yourself, what are you doing?
So much, but I was just noticing, like I'm talking more than Neil, but I think it's just because we're all
because we're here.
Yeah, and I love it. I love getting people out.
I feel like I'm not as
technically savvy as I'd like to be.
Whoever
At the same time, I am.
be the one that talks.
That makes sense because I grew up playing outside.
You gotta.
I literally didn't even have a smartphone
drummers
until after
and
college.
people have feelings too.
So I still had the
recently,
razor
like,
in college. I feel like, yeah.
I always would
like,
just
I wouldn't
refer to
even
Neil
call
as, like,
people.
oh
I would
yeah,
just
like
run
the
over to
singer
their
in our
house.
band. But
Right.
it's like,
I
I
mean,
mean, I sing just as much.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I didn't have a
It's almost
smartphone.
50-50
I was
to
probably
me.
a
And
junior.
so,
like,
I know. We did one show
so
where
young.
I was a junior.
the way our
in
stage is laid out is
college.
when I got a
Neil's
smartphone.
usually in the center.
So I mean,
and I'm off to the
it's
side. And we
it
did
was still
another
like
show
I had
where
the
I was
first
in the
cell phone I
center.
had, I
Neil
had to
was
share
off
with
to
my
the side.
brother in case.
Man,
it
it felt
like,
awesome.
I loved it. I'm
one
like,
of us
you
wasn't
know,
taking the bus
I don't
home,
mind.
I
I'll
had,
take
like,
the spotlight
other
for a
after
bit.
Hell yeah.
It's cool.
Okay,
You get the
I'm into
feeling.
Yeah, my friend
Yeah.
Sam.
We had the you know, the
suggested
shitty like
that
the
because
monophonic
she's, like,
ringtones
super
that are like the
smart. If
beeps.
you-
and
Oh
if
yeah,
you want, like,
I used to have a
really
ringback tone.
person who's like,
Oh, I never had a ringback.
It's weird. I
very
still will
into
call
health
people and they will
bring
have a
her on.
ringback tone. I'm like, I didn't think those still
I
existed.
didn't know you could.
Yeah,
I know
the
there's a
Verizon
couple
ringback
concepts.
Now you
Sam
could just do it
Snyder.
for free. I feel like.
And
Before you used
her
to pay like
Instagram
99
is just
cents
that, but
for like
she
15
came
minutes.
to one of our shows. She was
My
visiting
parents
from
used to
LA.
get so mad because I would front up the bill on my
she
razor.
watched us. I was like, so
My
what do you think?
razor.
Do you have
Like
any
I used to have an
15
LG
tones.
chocolate.
She was like,
Oh yeah, I
the
remember
guy
those
who
too. Yeah,
talks
yeah.
and
Yeah.
is
Did they go
the
up
most
like this
funny
end?
It's
Eric
it was
flipped
the
up
thing
and
you would
down.
swipe
just
up
as
and then it
much,
had
if not
the
more.
wheel that would spin.
You should put
for
him
scrolling.
in the middle.
All right,
Done.
cool. How did Neil feel about that?
Neil was fine.
Neil, you got to go. No, I know.
He's gone. Like,
Oh, he already left.
yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
was that?
That's why he messed.
Oh,
He
I
just-
thought
Oh.
I was still-
I'm still
I can
here.
No, he's still here.
now.
You gotta hop off.
Yeah, okay. I'll do a quick
Josh,
outro
thanks
with you
again,
guys.
man.
Yeah. No,
draft?
actually, we don't even have to.
So
do that.
it's
Me
my
and Eric will
ring,
finish- me,
so
Eric,
I
and
think
Paul
that's
finish
cool.
the
We'll finish
microphones.
strong.
Yeah, we'll
Ordered
finish
the
strong.
microphones and the stands.
Get the last thing.
Okay,
Thanks
cool.
for coming
I'm
on, man. I really
I love
appreciate it. You're welcome
how,
in anytime. Let's set up a political
passionate you are
one.
about things,
I'd
like,
love to have you in
just
the studio,
watching,
and we can
like
we can do the
your
research
dude, I'm
before
in.
your
that.
support for the
and have some
Ravens,
topics.
I'm in.
like
Thanks
the
so
bands
much.
that you work with,
And I guess
and your
Eric,
dogs.
Paul,
Was like
you guys Tuesday.
before. I even
Bye-bye.
met you, I was
Hey,
like,
thanks again for
I
having
like
us.
this guy.
Go Ravens,
Oh,
thanks, man. That's cool.
Go
I
Ravens.
was
I-
excited to get you guys in here because we don't get to talk a lot. You know, we don't really
Totally.
have that kind of thing. And
Well, now that
I can
he's
tell
gone.
Yeah, I was
And
just
it's
about to
meeting
say.
someone
Now
with
that he's
bullshit
gone,
now.
we
Yeah,
can
you
talk
can
shit.
kinda just tell.
Totally.
No. And even the good ones, I can still see through it. You know, I'm just like, yeah, he's nice in public, I'm sure, but I can
Right.
tell this guy's a total. Like Ray Rice, when I first met him, he was so nice in public, but I could tell he was. And it has nothing to do with any of the stuff that happened later,
Right.
but I remember being at a party and he was there and he just acted totally different. And I
Yeah.
was just like, man, you put on a great smile. And then all that stuff came out after the fact.
Sure.
And I remember I had mentioned it to my one friend, like, oh, you're just hating. And then that stuff came out. I'm like, am I hating now or what? Like,
Right.
but still, yeah. No, thank you. That's a very kind compliment. I feel like if you're not passionate about stuff or like why even bother doing it? So I think
Sure.
that's why
stoked,
all the
man.
stuff that I get involved with, I genuinely enjoy and want the best for people.
Well, people get scared to be stoked on things. Like
It's not cool to care about
yeah,
shit.
like,
All right. Well, yeah, we'll keep talking if we don't wrap it up. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in, man. It was awesome. And,
Totally, man.
you know,
Thanks for having
we'll do
us.
it again soon.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, make sure to check out the new single "Clutter."
Oh, yeah.
and also look out for our EP that should be coming out
Sometime this year. Yeah.
I'm glad you guys said that because I feel like that's an important part. That's why I had you in here. And we almost left without that.
It's all good.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you to the Great Heights Band for coming into studio. I really appreciate the effort. It's not easy. I've done about 10 of these episodes, and probably 85 to 90% of them are over the phone. So getting people in the studio is tough, but it's how I can get the video. We have the screens. We can pull stuff up. I really want to get this going so that the video coincides with the audio, and you can kind of see our reactions to things and see what we're pulling up on the screen, and just have it be a really nice setup, a fun setup, something that bands and artists and comedians and people that are trying to get their stuff out there can use as a medium to have great content and use for campaigns. So if you're looking to come into studio or you have a single or want to chat over the phone, please just hit us up at justjpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next